Alright guys, this video series is designed to help you take your action camera, get the files off of your action camera, put them on your computer, and start to edit them. In the very first video here, we're going to talk about what you need to actually get your footage off of here, the best practice in my opinion to save the files, how to dig through the video card that's on here, or the SD card with your videos on it, how to dig through it and how to decipher things. And I'm going to show you guys some shortcuts and stuff with Windows that will help you actually get things ready to edit. And then in the next video, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take those videos that we've taken off of this GoPro, or any action camera for that matter, and we're going to learn how to edit a very basic edit using a very 100% free program. And I'm going to show you guys how to render it into a file that you can upload to OneDrive, or I'm sorry, YouTube, or you can upload it to Facebook or TikTok, what have you. It's all the same process. So, after this short intro, we're going to get right into it.
That's a life of a fisherman you wouldn't understand. Something you can't feel on dry land. You gotta get your arms way up in a cage and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loomis rod. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it the world. Hello, welcome to my world.
Alright, so you have yourself a GoPro or an action camera, and it's been sitting on your shelf for a while, and you don't know really how to get the files off of here, or really where to start. First and foremost, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about resolution on these cameras. Resolution is the dots of colors that you have per inch of video screen. You hear the buzzwords nowadays of 4K video, 8K video, 5.2K video, 2.7K video. There's literally, a dozen different resolutions. If you're just now getting into the ball game of, filming your adventures on the water, my best advice to you is to set your camera up at 1080p, 60 frames a second. This video right here that you're watching was actually filmed, edited, rendered, and uploaded to YouTube in 1080p, 60 frames a second. So you can see the quality is not that much less than 4K. It's going to be less, it's going to be easier for you to edit it on your computer. You don't have to have a super high-end computer to edit 1080p, 60 frames a second, and it'll give you a good place to start. So another thing is, on your GoPro, I have a video, I'll put a card up here showing the different settings that I use on my GoPro. My advice to you is to set your GoPro up using 1080p, 60 frames a second, but use the 5-minute looping feature. That way you can actually tell the GoPro to start and stop, and it actually saves the last 5 minutes of time on your camera. Again, I'm not going to go into that on this video because there's a video right here in the cards that you can actually go and take a look at that. It shows you all about how I set up my GoPro. So, in order to get your files off of your camera, you need to make sure that you have a camera and a cable. This is a USB Type-C cable that comes with the GoPro. If I can get my camera here to focus. It is a round connector. You can't plug it in wrong. I'm going to plug it in here to my GoPro Hero 8, and then on this end is what's known as a USB-A connector. So this is going to plug into any USB port on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in, and then I'm going to turn my camera on, and then we're going to hop over onto my PC, and I'm going to show you guys how to dig through footage on here, how to decipher what the footage is, how to see bigger thumbnails of your footage so you can dig through it, and how to save this files off of this camera onto your computer. Because again, when you're editing your very first footage or what have you, you do not want the files to be on this camera. You want them to be physically on your computer, because one, it's a lot faster working that way, and two, you don't have to worry about the connection between the GoPro and your action camera going out while you're actually working on your video, because that is very bad. So let's hop over to the computer. I'm going to plug this thing in, show you how to get to the files on here. I'm going to show you how I save them to my computer, and then what you need to look for. And then in the next video, we're actually going to take those files and we're going to make a very basic edit, and then I'm going to show you how to render it out of a free program so you have a single file that you can do whatever you wish with. You can put it on an external hard drive for archive purposes. You can send it to your buddies. You can put it on YouTube. Pretty much do anything you want with this video at that point, but that's going to be in video 2. Video 1, we're going to talk about how to get the files off of this camera, saved to your computer, and how to dig through the footage. So let's hop over to the computer. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, GoPros have, you know, the cable. I talked to you guys about plugging the cable in, but I just realized and I remembered that GoPro has it so weird how to get stuff off of this camera. I'm going to tell you guys to buy yourself an external SD card reader. I'm going to show you what I have here. There are literally hundreds of them online. I'll link a couple down below in the description. USB 3.0 micro SD card reader, especially if you're using the micro SD cards that go in the new or in the recent GoPros. You're going to take this micro SD card out of your camera. Again, this is a 128 gig card out of my camera, because in order to get the files off of this camera on your computer, GoPro has it set up with the new updates that you have to have their GoPro Quick app, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Matter of fact, I think that is the biggest downfall of GoPro as a company ever, is they don't have a solid piece of software that you can edit footage with. That is the craziest thing to me. They sell cameras for people on action cameras for people, but they don't have any kind of even decent software to edit footage with. The GoPro Quick app sucks in my opinion. But you're going to take this and you're going to put it into the external SD card reader on your computer, and then we're going to dig into showing you guys how to actually get the footage off of here. Again, we want to make sure that we get the files off of this card physically onto your computer, because you do not want to edit from this while this thing is plugged into the computer. You want to have these files somewhere stored on your computer so you can actually work with them. It's going to save you a lot of time, headache, and frustration in the long run, because even having this thing plugged into an external card reader, it's not as fast as the actual computer reading from its own hard drive. So I'm going to show you how I'm plugging this thing into my card reader, and then, we're going to dig into it. So this is my external SD card reader. It takes normal SD card sizes like this right here. This is a micro SD in a holder or in an adapter. So one kind of looks like this without the SD card in it. And then the SD card would go in there if you had an adapter or you didn't have one that would actually take micro SD cards. But I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my SD card here and I'm going to put it into the SD card slot, the micro SD card slot here, and it'll only go in one way. Plug it in there, and then it's going to show up on your computer. And in that case, we are going to look into how to get the files from this card over to your actual your computer. Okay, so now I'm back on my computer. I have my SD card plugged into my external card reader here. And then I'm going to show you now how to get access to these files and some things that are going to help you out digging through the files. And I'm going to explain why the 5-minute looping feature is so important for you to use, especially if you're brand new to the game. So in order to get to my files, this is on Windows 10. It may be a little different on other versions of Windows or even Macintosh, where you need to find the hard drive. So normally you're going to do that in Windows with the File Explorer here. So I'm going to choose the File Explorer, and I'm going to look over here and try to find the USB drive. Mine's H. So we need to figure out how to get these things. I'm going to transfer them to a backup drive that I have. Again, what we're doing right now is trying to get our actual files from our SD card that's plugged into the SD card reader onto our actual computer, because again, you do not want to edit from the SD card. It's slower. Yeah, you run a risk of corrupting a file, and your whole trip could be down the drain. So I'm going to choose USB drive H. And the way GoPro set things up is that they always put them in a DCIM folder, and they will create its own 100 GoPro folder the very first time you hit record. Once it gets to a certain amount of files in that, it will create another folder like 101 GoPro. But within here, when I double click on this, normally how this stuff comes in, and it's in list format, or not list, sorry, it's in, see how it would be small icons, I think, like this. So when you're digging through here, you can see there's a lot of different clips in here. Anything with this little blue icon is a video clip. This THM is a thumbnail file that GoPro uses to show you just a quick thumbnail of the video of what it's actually going to look like when you play it. Those things there are not needed. However, digging through this footage right here is kind of you know, it's really tough because you don't know what it is. Just a bunch of jumbled up letters and numbers. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. If you right click anywhere out here on the white area, you're going to get the option to choose view, and you're going to want to choose extra large icons here. When you choose extra large icons, it's going to create thumbnails of all these videos that you can dig through. So you can see here, so I have 0345, 0346, 0347, 0348, 0349, 0350. So there are 6 files here in this succession. The reason that I say the looping feature is so important for you to understand is that what happens is that it saves 6 files here over the last 5 minutes of time. So what happens was when I started this video here, so I'll bring it over here so you guys can see it. This is a video that goes really dark, putting the boat in the water. This is 1 minute long. You can see that down here at the bottom left-hand side, it's exactly 1 minute. So then what happens is it actually creates another file for the next 1 minute of time. Again, I can go through this, not a whole lot. You can see here, 1 minute. And then it does that until you physically stop the GoPro from recording, either by telling it to stop using voice commands or going back and pressing the stop or the shutter release button on what I call the shutter release button, the start, stop, record button on your action camera. So when I choose here and I play this last video,
let's get them, boys. Can't catch them in bed.
You can see I stopped the camera right there. So what happens is the GoPro saved the last 6 files in order. I have minute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and really a little bit of the 6 minute, but it saves 5 minutes of time, which makes it really handy for you. So usually what happens is, guys, you can go through here and find these files. For example, let's see here. 365, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. You can see that these are actually counting up higher than that. Well, the issue was I was just stopping and starting the camera for what's known as B-roll in the industry. It just gives me filler footage. So let's dig through here and try to find one that will be a little better for us to understand. So 98, 99, 400, 401, 402, 403. All right, so 403 right here. You notice it stops up here to 407, which means I hit stop right here and then started it a few seconds later. So I'm going to double click to play this video. There's something in this video that I wanted to save, whether that's B-roll footage or I catch a fish or something in this last 1 minute. So let's see what happens. And again, it may not be anything. It may be just me trying to save it. Maybe I like that cast right there.
GoPro, stop recording.
So you heard me say GoPro stop recording there. So there was nothing in those 5 minutes. It's just me saving the last 5 minutes of footage for filler footage. Again, so digging through here, and I've already dug through all this footage, guys, so there may not be any fish catches in here. But if I dig through and I find a fish catch or something, then I can actually save that file. So now I'm digging through this stuff. The best thing to do, guys, is there is a Snap to feature or a Snap feature within Windows, the newer versions of Windows, that will help you out in the long run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, hold, and drag. If you see my cursor here, I'm going to click, left click, hold, and drag down from the top. And then I'm going to move it to the right of my screen until you see that box appear. So I just moved it totally to the right in the center of my screen. Now I'm going to release my left click button. Now what I want to do is I want to open up a new folder that I want to save these files on my computer. So the way that's done, I'm going to open up another file explorer here, and I'm just going to choose file. So I right clicked on File Explorer, right click here, and I'm going to choose a new File Explorer. Same deal. I'm going to click, I'm going to maximize this. Left click, hold, and drag to the side here, and then when that that box shows up, I'm going to release the left click, and now I have two windows here open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the drive that I want to save these files on. In my case, it's going to be the backup drive. Now I'm going to create, you see that I create a folder here called On Another Line, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to choose something else. So I'm going to right click in the white area here. I'm going to choose New. I'm going to choose Folder. And for this, I'm just going to call this, I'm going to call it YouTube Video. So now I'm going to double click this folder to open it up. Now I have an empty folder. Here is all my files from my computer. I'm sorry, for my SD card. So I want to transfer the files that I want to edit over here. So I can double click on this thing to dig through it, figure out what I want. Let's say I catch a fish here, and this file right here I want to save to edit. I'm literally going to left click my mouse, hold and drag this over here, and I'm going to release the left click. It's going to take a second for it to copy over. And again, this is another reason why I say the looping feature is really handy, because it takes less time for you to transfer this video over here. If you didn't have a looping feature, this would be gigs and gigs big, which would take minutes, even hours, depending on the speed of your computer to get over here. So I'm going to dig through here, and again, I'm going to be looking at those file numbers. And this is something that you guys are going to have to do, obviously. Dig through, find footage that you want. Let's see, 401, 403, that was the one we just looked at. So let's see, 416, actually that was 418. What's happening here? Probably, I'm fishing the Ohio River, so it's probably B-roll footage I'm trying to save here. So I'm stopping the camera again, saving the last 5 minutes of footage. So I'm going to go through here. Looks like there was a fish catch right here. 443 maybe? Yep, sure enough. Look at that hammer. So here's a fish catch that I want to keep. Playing it through. And again, this is the very last video in those 6 numbered series.
Little spotted bass are absolutely chewing this morning. I can't believe it's even eating this big old thing. I think they're just swiping at it. I'll tell you one thing though, spotted bass are some of the prettiest bass species on the planet. Look at that thing, little baby thing.
Sure enough, that is some footage that I want to keep right here, and I want to edit this. So this 443, 444 would be the last video in the series, and that's me talking about the catch and turning the fish loose. So this is the catch. If I want to select both of these, because I'm probably going to want to, let's play this back. I'm putting it into the Angler app there. So really, to be honest with you,
GoPro, stop recording.
it's not anything that I would really want there probably. I'm not doing any talking. I'm not doing anything showing the camera. But let's just say that you do want both of these video clips. You can literally click, hold, and drag one and then the other. Or my favorite thing to do, guys, is hold the control key down on your keyboard. So we're going to left click, select one. Hold control down on the keyboard, left click to select the other. Notice that both of these are selected. Now I can left click, hold, and drag on one. Notice there's a 2 there in this icon over here, and I'm going to release the left click there, and it's copying from my SD card over to my YouTube video folder. So guys, that pretty much does it for this video. This video again was just showing you guys how to find your footage, how to get it to where you can work with it, how to create a new folder, and how to copy your footage from your SD card onto your computer so you can edit. The next video is going to be talking about how we can actually take those files, put it into a free video editing program, and edit and render your very first video of you out on the water. Guys, if you like this video, I'd appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. If you have already, I appreciate the support. Again, if you think your buddies would enjoy this video, give it a share. If you guys can, get out there on the water. Lean on a few. We'll see you next time on Another Line.